My name is Litia and I'm from the beautiful island of Laos and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Casey, I'm from Tabua. We love Today FM in Tabua. Today FM rocks.
My name is Selina, I'm from Tauvenga-Vengamba. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Pula, my name is Carlo. I love listening to the music in Today FM, in Malak Island. Today FM rock.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news, assessors find rape suspect guilty. PM once again pleads with world leaders on climate change fight. And civil service pay structure explained in Parliament.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spade.
One of Fiji's highest profile rape and murder cases has almost ended. This afternoon, 3 assessors found the accused Chosua Dolonaundolu guilty of all 12 charges against him. Dolonaundolu was charged with 1 count of murder, 6 counts of rape, 1 count of indecently annoying a female, and 4 counts of abduction. Shireen Sivan reports.
Following a 2-week-long trial, Suva High Court Judge Justice Salesitemo has this afternoon summed up the case of Joshua Dolonaundolu, a man who allegedly raped 4 girls in his community and allegedly murdered the 4th victim in Deumba last year. While summing up the case, the judge thoroughly analyzed the evidence and statements that were presented in court by the 26 witnesses. The first alleged victim, who is now 35 years old, was allegedly raped at the age of 14. She testified she was on her way to the shop one afternoon when the accused covered her mouth, took her to his house, punched and raped her, which resulted in pregnancy. The second alleged victim, now a mother of 6, testified the accused entered her house while she was breastfeeding her child, threatened her with a knife and raped her. The third victim, who is half the age of the accused, alleged he forcefully took her to the beach, raped her and fled the scene when she fainted. The 4th victim, a 14-year-old girl, was allegedly raped and murdered by the accused in Deumba last year. The assessors took almost an hour to deliberate but came back with a unanimous guilty verdict on all counts. Judge Justice Salesitemo will deliver his judgment at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. Shireen Sivan, FBC News.
Prime Minister and incumbent COP23 President Vorenge Bainimarama has appealed to the goodwill of the international community to work together to harness efforts in the global fight against climate change. He made the comments yesterday at the Petersburg Climate Dialogue in Berlin, Germany, with Chancellor Angela Merkel present. The PM stressed that while the new administration in the United States presents a challenge to the consensus on the need for climate action, they must forge ahead. Maggie Boyle reports.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama said that over the past 2 days he felt there was collective resolve to push on with the implementation of the Paris Agreement, come what may. He added that the forum had considerable power to make a difference, to pursue decisive political action, which in turn would accelerate the economic transformation that many speakers at the dialogue had articulated. The PM noted that these powerful voices came from all over the planet and represent a reordering of the geopolitical relationships that have traditionally driven international institutions. Bainimarama singled out Chancellor Merkel, commending her for her leadership, in particular for making climate change a political priority. We owe you a debt of gratitude for being the global example for every political leader, the PM said. Concluding his key address, the PM reiterated that more needed to be done to build green economies, adding that as a Navy man, there was certainly a need for a solution to all the plastic polluting our oceans. Meanwhile, leading his speech, the PM expressed his shock and horror at the terrorist act in Manchester. He noted that every Fijian had the thoughts and prayers for the families of the victims as well as those that were injured. He extended a strong message to the British government of sympathy, solidarity and support, as well as to the British people. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The salary structure of thousands of civil servants is being graded. Civil Service Minister Ayaz Said Qayyum told Parliament the pay of public servants at all levels is being scrutinised. Said Qayyum says this is not a political exercise and rejected opposition criticism, saying the overall intention is to improve service delivery.
You see, unlike you, we don't do a dodgy job. We actually do a good job. We actually do a good job. The dodginess is part of the culture, Madam Speaker. What we need to do is this government's culture is to do things properly. This government's culture is to do things on a sustained basis. This government's culture is to modernize, not to pander to the whims of one or two people just for their political point scoring. And you will see that the civil servants of Fiji, who maybe one or two may be going to them and saying we're going to pay rise, they will actually be very happily glad and satisfied we've carried this out. And they won't be.
Sex crimes should be everyone's concern. Defence and National Security Minister Ratuinoke Kumbombola says sexual offences are increasing, which is a reflection of degraded values in our communities. He says everyone needs to help to combat these deplorable acts, which in 2016 was responsible for 632 cases of sexual offences against children. Maggie Boyle tells us more.
It's a call for help. Kumbombola blunt about the issue of sexual offences in Fiji.
The painful reality is that sexual offences are increasing in our country. And the Fiji police force needs all our support to tackle this problem.
He let the statistics on gender violence do the talking.
Rape increased by 5.2%, assault with intent to commit rape by 300%, sexual assaults by 116.7%, abduction of person under 18 years of age with intent to have carnal knowledge increased by 100%.
And then there were the statistics of sexual violence against children.
Total 1,226 criminal cases reported on child victims. 632 cases were sexual offences against children, which is 51.5%.
Opposition, while acknowledging the issue, made several suggestions.
The laxity in the police in regards to statements. Most of the statements when it comes to court, they are missing in regards to how they properly manage those case management systems.
Such as poverty, social issues, emergence of hard drugs in our country. These are important issues that ought to be part of the solution.
With the no-drop policy and zero-tolerance measures in place, the minister also highlighted that a multifaceted approach has been adopted to work at all levels to try and curb sexual abuse. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The government has nominated the Fiji Development Bank as a nationally accredited entity through which the green climate funds can be channeled. Responding to questions in Parliament today, Attorney General Ayaz Said Qayyum says the national authority in Fiji's case is the Ministry for Economy. He says 3 different stages need to be followed before an accreditation is accepted.
We are told that the GCF board, when it meets later on this year, will actually make a decision. In the meantime, they've come along, worked with the national focal point, which is the Ministry of Economy, and gone and sat down with FDB to see if they can actually meet the criteria.
There are a number of military personnel qualified as psychologists. These were confirmed by the Defence Minister Ratuinoke Kumbombola while responding to the question by the opposition side based on how our returning peacekeepers are assessed for psychological trauma. He says over the years when required, the RFMF engaged psychological specialists from the private sector as well as the Ministry of Health. Kumbombola also mentioned the RFMF assesses and addresses post-stress traumatic disorder and other psychological traumas in the line of duty through the counselling section.
The affected service personnel are referred to the section either through their immediate supervisor or they can refer themselves to the counsellor. In some areas, after a traumatic event, it is mandatory that the affected personnel report to the section for mandatory counselling.
Still to come, Elections Office eyes 10,000 registrations and UK police release photo of suspected bomber. Details after the break.
Nimbula vinaka na yavangunga andi moala rarara ranalika o tikongona tauna singatoka ando talitaka na wakaronga ng Bula FM nambandua na serre.
Yalo rasu buli kurnambili iborani batukara hambara binaranga do talitakina na wakaronga ng Bula FM nambandua na serre. Bula!
Bula FM number 2 en seri.
Globalization and technology has increased competitiveness and impacted the way people work in the Pacific. The International Labour Organization believes this will create more jobs. Kelly Vavala reports.
The advancement of technology can develop job opportunities, especially for youths in Fiji.
As the new technology comes, as the new mode of production comes in, and as the new mode of employment comes in, there are many options of policies that can stimulate new jobs, can stimulate the those who are not able to come into the labor force now.
President Major General retired George Conrote says innovation and technology is also transforming economies, societies and impacting the nature of work.
Our traditional understanding of jobs, workplaces, terms of employment and safety nets such as pension schemes. The challenge for us as a region is to understand that the future is not predetermined, as you heard, and we should, together through high-level dialogue such as this one, influence and shape the future of work in the Pacific.
ILO Assistant Director Tomoko Nishimoto says technology does not have to replace jobs but can help develop roles.
The sweeping remarks to saying that our technological advancements is destroying the jobs, we were not that's not the school of thought that we are prescribing.
11 Pacific Island member states, along with important key stakeholders, were part of the high-level tripartite dialogue in Lami today. They gathered to discuss the most critical issues of future work. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Indian Minister of State for External Affairs, retired General Dr. Vijay Kumar Singh, is in the country to attend the India-Pacific Island Sustainable Development Conference. The meeting will start tomorrow and participants from the 14 member countries in the Pacific are expected to attend. Also includes high-level dignitaries as well as other stakeholders. According to Dr. Singh, the conference will focus on many things, which includes mitigation and adaptation issues where climate change is a concern, as well as disaster management and how to utilize renewable energy in the Pacific.
We have got a great participation from the 14 island nations. We should be able to come up with concrete proposals at the end of it so that we can implement these and ensure that the aim set out by us is achieved.
The Fijian Elections Office hopes to register an additional 10,000 voters by June next year. They've already registered more than 600,000 voters as of March 1st this year. Supervisor of Elections Mohammed Saneem says about 6,000 secondary school students are likely to be registered. He adds they are looking at Fiji Day celebrations this year for registration of Fijians living abroad. They have also completed registration of Fijians in majority of the Pacific Island countries.
So the registration of parties cannot occur after the writ is issued, and the writ will be issued next year, sometimes this. Actually, if you look at the calculations, 22nd of May, which was the day we launched this exercise, would be the first day a general election can be held in 2018.
The Fiji Broadcasting Corporation has handed over the keys to a brand new Hyundai Elantra to the winner of the Today FM Last Man Standing competition, Edward Snow. Snow was given the $59,000 car in Suva this afternoon. He stood for more than 70 hours during the competition and says he's still trying to come to terms with his achievement.
To thank FBC, especially the Today FM team, especially the CEO for approving the funds for this event.
This is the official end of Last Man Standing for 2017. So we can only hope the next day we'll do it bigger and better.
Turning to world news, Prime Minister Theresa May says Britain's threat level from terrorism has been raised to critical, meaning an attack may be imminent. May says Salman Abadi, the suicide bomber who killed 22 people at a concert in Manchester, may have been part of a bigger network. Ahead in sports with Jamie, he will have the latest on the Fiji-Solomons match tomorrow, but joining us next is Edwin with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening, and coming up tonight, work conflict can be resolved, says Minister. And in growing Fiji, around 500 women to be part of Expo. Stay with us.
I'm under the of Nayabu Whenever I want to tune in
to listen to great music, I always tune in to my favorite radio station, Gold FM, only the classic.
My name is Lita. We love listening to Gold FM here at the Fiji Hideaway Resort and Spa. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
We here at Kano Waterfront Lautoka love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back. Grievances at the workplace and conflicts between employees can be addressed at the Ministry of Employment. This was highlighted by Employment Minister Chone Osamate in Parliament this morning. He confirms more than 80% of employment conflicts in 2016 were resolved. Savaira Tambua reports.
Minister for Employment Chone Osamate said he'd prefer a written question when asked by the opposition side about specific statistics related to the resolved cases. He is adamant grievances can be followed in 4 Ds and an S, which is dismissal, discrimination, disadvantage and duress, while S stands for sexual offence.
They have the opportunity to be able to bring this to the ministry. Previously, in the old legislations that we used to have, these grievances could only be brought to the ministry by a union. Now it's open to any individual. They can bring their personal grievance to the ministry, and the ministry will try to bring the parties together to try to resolve that particular grievance.
Questions were also thrown in by opposition on the time frame to addressing an issue.
Can the minister explain the improvement on the processes to ensure a quick turnaround?
We have at the moment, there's quite a lot of issues that were with the tribunal that had some backlog, but now the tribunal is now under the judiciary, so the judiciary has been able to provide extra tribunals to try to speed up the backlog that we have. But within mediation, there's a time limit of around 30 days, I believe. I cannot be too sure, but I know it's around 30 days. After that, it goes to the tribunal.
The role of a mediator is to find a solution acceptable to both parties and help them craft their own outcome to a dispute. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
And time for the World Market Update. We now join Elisa Pedi from HFC Bank with the latest.
Vinaka, we have an update to the release in our economic calendar. New Zealand's trade balance for the year-on-year to April has narrowed to a deficit of New Zealand $3.48 billion from $3.71. Meanwhile, Moody's Investors Service has cut its credit rating for China after citing expectations that the financial strength of the world's second biggest economy would erode in the coming years. The Chinese government is currently faced with slowing economic growth and rising financial risks stemming from soaring debt. This has led to Asian shares edging lower this morning, while the Australian dollar and the offshore Chinese yuan slipped. Vinaka.
Thanks, Elisa Pedi. On to today's exchange rates. The Fijian dollar strengthened against the Chinese yuan to close at $3.24 today, while it was unchanged against the US dollar at 47 cents. The Australian dollar weakened, closing at 62 cents, while the New Zealand dollar dropped slightly, closing at 66 cents. Meanwhile, the PNG Kina was on the rise to close at $1.31. Looking at the commodities market, the increase across the index continues. Oil prices rose to close at $51.45 a barrel. Gold dropped by about $8 to close just under $1,252 per ounce. And silver closed at $17.07 an ounce. .500 rural women from various provinces in Fiji will be representative at this year's Women's Expo. The Minister for Women today signed an agreement with the Fiji Sports Council, who will be facilitating the 3-day event. The ministry is working with stakeholders, both government, non-government as well, in preparing for the logistics of the upcoming Expo. The 2017 Women's Expo will be held on the 14th, from the 14th to the 16th of next month.
We have got all the machineries in place to ensure the successful staging of the Expo, and certainly more to that is to see more empowerment of our women, more recognition of women artisans, recognition of women entrepreneurs rising, and those that are emerging now.
And that's business this evening. Now to sports. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Edwin, and good evening. In sports after the break, Solomon Islanders ready to face Bulla Boys tomorrow. And Fiji Sevens turn focus to next year's Commonwealth Games and World Cup. Stay with us for this and more.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1। इट्स सो हॉट।
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट।
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेकी से मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट। आई लव मिर्ची एफएम।
हमें स्क्रीन तक ताबुआ के मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट।
Vodafone Fiji Sevens management is satisfied with the team's performance this season. They say despite a less than impressive outing in the last tournament of the series, the focus was on developing new players and laying the foundation for the Commonwealth Games and Sevens World Cup next year. FBC Sports caught up with the national Sevens team upon its return from London today.
Returning from London this morning after finishing third in the series, Fiji Sevens manager Johnny Nirua believes our Sevens gladiators have done their best.
Yeah, I know it's a Sevens game, you know. Once you do something wrong, so you're gone. So the boys did very well, but we came third on the series, and we won trophy from London. I think that's not too bad. The boys did very well this series, yes.
Nirua believes our new players have gelled in well with the experienced reps, setting a good platform for next season.
Next year is a Commonwealth Games and the World Cup, so I think it's a very good development that's going on through to the team. Coach is doing very good on the developing of new players into the system.
Seasoned rep Jerry Tuai believes the new players in the squad needs more time to grow to show their full potential on the international stage.
A lot of new boys that coming through the system. We just need to develop them furthermore, and you'll see from there.
The next series kicks off in December in Dubai. Melitawanga, FBC Sports.
Vodafone Fiji football coach Christophe Gamel has left out Roy Krishna for the match against Solomon Islands tomorrow. Krishna's club commitments do not allow him to play tomorrow's match, but he may be available for the match on Sunday. Gamel named a 25-member team today and will name his starting lineup tomorrow.
One training to fix it. It's a bit hard task, but I'm confident in the name that I have given. We are agree on that, and I expect them to give their best for the country, because they are at the end they are a good guys, and I thank them to give their time for that.
The Solomon Islands football side is in Fiji not only on the hunt for a win against the Fiji side, but also to prepare for its World Cup qualifiers next week. The Islanders are ranked 180th in the world, one above the Fijians, and have brought an experienced side for the two friendly matches. Rohit Deo tells us more.
Looking sharp and ready to take on the Bulla Boys, Fiji may have struggled in preparations, but the opponents haven't had any such issues.
So far it's been good. We've been training already for 6 weeks. We didn't have the whole squad until recently because 2 players are playing in New Zealand, so you have to respect their time with their clubs.
The Islanders will be going in for a win, but the officials mainly want to work on improving match fitness before their World Cup qualifiers against Papua New Guinea next week.
I believe both coaches want the same thing. We want, of course, everybody wants to win. That's competition. But we can be way too serious about it because the most important part of these matches is prepare, the official matches.
For Manandi and Navua rep, Stanley Waiter is the assistant coach for the team and says this is a golden opportunity for his team to prepare for the World Cup qualifiers.
It's a great opportunity and it's a good time to get the boys to Fiji. We are preparing for our World Cup qualifier against PNG, so it's a good test for us.
Fiji takes on the Solomon Islands at 7 p.m. in the first match at Suva's ANZ Stadium tomorrow, with a return match to be played on Sunday at 3 p.m. in Lautoka. Rohit Deo, FPC Sports.
Namosi Rugby is hoping to continue its momentum from last Saturday's 30-7 upset win over Suva. The side takes on Madhuwata this Saturday and has been working hard to reduce its penalty count ahead of the fourth round Skipper Cup clash. Meli Tavanga reports.
The Namosi Rugby is working to perfect its game ahead of the Madhuwata match.
Same lot of the players that we have are all good players, even the young ones that are coming in. With rugby nowadays, there's no such thing as more experience or less experience. The thing is a combination. If it's good on the field, and then that's good, and we're hoping that to improve from where we left off last week.
Coach Maxwell Hughes says discipline is an area of concern.
We had about 7 penalties against us last weekend. We cannot afford that, especially in big games. And especially with a team like Madhuwata playing on their home ground, a very good side, we need to improve on our discipline.
Hungry for a win after 3 rounds, the Madhuwata side is doing the hard yards at training, not wanting to disappoint its home crowd.
Try to give our best team to prepare for Namosi, and we are looking forward for a win so that we can bring up from the 8th position to hope for the top 4 this year.
Madhuwata takes on Namosi at Subrail Park at 3 p.m. Saturday. Melitavanga, FBC Sports.
Both Fijian surfers Shea Slater and Leslie Navuwai will compete in the repertoire heats at the World Surfing Games in France tomorrow. Slater finished 4th in the first heats earlier today, while Navuwai also finished 4th in his heat. The Fijians are competing against the world's best at the Games. That's it from sports this evening. Catch weather later on with Angie. And in new media right after the break, a look at the latest Snapchat feature. That's coming up.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo tali taka na varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Kombinasyon mo sekolah ndo tali taka na Radio Fiji 1 kina Domoy Viti.
Kaya kuya silil tali, nagurara may naomanyi, nandunga. Gitu tali taki yang gitu bina sebale pun nagudurong. Varorong na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti na bonga ni BNN.
Snapchat is adding yet another feature as it continues to step up its efforts to compete with Facebook. Snapchat has unveiled a new tool that lets users collaborate with friends and family to create custom stories. Weather time now with Angie.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World. It's hump day and yeah, the weather is back to normal. The sun was just beaming through, making everything dry after days of wet weather. The rain clouds failed to produce any significant rain, which is fantabulous, if that's a word. Looking at today in the west, the skies were much brighter with warm spells of sunshine. It felt reasonably warm at 32 degrees in Ba. Eastwards from Pack Harbour to Suva, it was pretty clear with a cloud or two lingering by, and sunshine made everything look so greener. And up in Vanua Levu, conditions were fine in Lambasa, not for Sabu Sabu, where rain dampened the hidden paradise. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots with moderate to rough seas. And for the tides, low tide tonight will be at 11:21 with a high tide at 5:32 tomorrow morning. Sunrise will be at 6:28. For tomorrow, it will be a rather cloudy start to the day with extensive low clouds. It might seem like rain, but nope, it won't. Tomorrow's temps, most centers will range in the high 20s. Looking further on to our favorite, Friday, it will be another warm day with a few light showers. And that, Jackie, is our FPC weather for tonight.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. On Fijian Pulse today, we asked, what do you think of Gareth Baber's performance as coach in the World Series?
all I can say, he cannot pick the right combination about the Fiji players. They are talented players, but he cannot put the right combination for the Fiji team. That's all I can say.
Well, I guess Gareth Bieber, yes, there's a good choice. You can't blame anything because of the HR department for the FRU. Right, but he's there, he's in the position. So I think all the fans now will just have to focus on what are the strategies that he has. But so far, he's good, he's improving.
Gareth Bieber, I think it's just the start of his season, and I think he started off well, but there needs to be more improvement on the Fiji team.
Capping the main stories, assessors find rape suspect guilty. PM once again pleads with world leaders on climate change fight, and civil service pay structure explained in Parliament. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we are asking, should plastic bag usage be banned in Fiji? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, today's shot of the day from the Garden Island of Taviuni, taken by Rishal J. Kumar at Vana Blowhole. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News, or you can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, good night.
हमारा नाम संत कुमार है, हम रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनता है और ताबुआ में सबसे बेहाल रेडियो फीजी 2 है यार।
हम बिना विमलेश रकाविंदी ताबुआ से रेडियो फीजी 2 हमारा सबसे फेवरेट स्टेशन है।
हमारा नाम ब्रूस राव है, रकेरेकी मार्केट वेंडर और रेडियो फीजी 2 देश के धड़कन 1954 से हम सुनता है।
हम कबली ताबुआ रहता है, हमारा नाम है रमेश चंद और हमारी मछली के धंधा है और हम सब टाइम रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनता है।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।